In our Sunrise Smart Start, Lynn Mazurkowitz, the wife of fallen Rochester police officer Anthony Mazurkowitz, spoke publicly for the first time at a tribute ride for her husband's service and a fundraiser for officers battling PTSD.
She says she's felt many emotions since the death of her husband, but is staying strong, remembering how dedicated her husband was to serving others. Mazurkowitz and her family say they have been overwhelmed by the outpour of support coming in near and far, reflecting on how her husband stepped up to any challenge in his 29 years on the force. The other purpose for this ride was to raise money for first responders again battling PTSD.
It's been over a year since the U.S. withdrew troops from Afghanistan and the Taliban regained control. During that year, refugees from the country have made their way to the U.S. in hopes of finding a new life. Ahmed Abrahami worked as a translator for the U.S. Embassy in Afghanistan, and despite being granted asylum in America for his pregnant wife and their 2-year-old daughter, he still had to leave behind his mother and siblings. You can find his full story on our website, rochesterfirst.com. In developing news this morning, one person is dead and 2 more injured after RPD responded to 547 State Street for the report of multiple people shot. This happening around 2:30 yesterday morning. Upon arrival, officers say there was a large crowd dispersing from what they call a non-sanctioned after-hours party happening at the restaurant Burrito Urbano. According to police, shots were fired during an argument at the party. The first victim, a male in his 20s, was taken to Strong Memorial Hospital, where he was pronounced dead shortly thereafter. The second victim, a male in his 30s, is recovering from non-life-threatening injuries from a gunshot wound. The third victim, a male in his 30s, stabbed while running a hot dog cart on the corner, according to police. He is being treated for non-life-threatening injuries.
And officers responding to reports of a person shot on Olean Street early Sunday morning. Upon arrival, officers locating a male on the sidewalk suffering from a gunshot wound to the upper body. The male was unresponsive and AMR attempted life-saving measures, but the male was pronounced dead at the scene. No suspects are in custody.
Also yesterday morning around 3:30, New York State Police responding to a fatal hit-and-run accident on the inner loop. Police say a man was walking in the westbound lane between Sayo Street and Joseph Avenue exit, where he was struck by a car. The striking vehicle fled the scene, and police are asking anyone with information to call 911.
As the violence continues throughout the city, uniting and healing through hope of Monroe County and the community gathering at Frontier Field for a Stop the Violence event. This event featuring Pastor John Mercury Morgan doing a leap of faith through a burning wall on a bicycle. Event organizers say we must unite as a city and nation to stop the ongoing violence happening throughout communities. Well, in other news, inflation has had an effect on everything consumers buy, including the housing market.
News 8's Shatira Marsh shares with us if those changes are leading us into a housing recession. She joins us now in the studio with more. Shatira.
There have been many factors playing a role in the housing market changing for consumers, like COVID-19 and overall supply and demand. July, even a more sluggish month for the U.S. housing market, as sales from pre-owned homes fell 6% and about a 20% drop from a year ago. Experts say we're witnessing a housing recession in terms of declining home sales and home building. However, it's not a recession in home prices. Inventory remains tight and prices continue to rise nationally, with nearly 40% of homes still commanding the full list price. So to be clear, homes are still selling. In fact, experts say home sales growth is expected to increase by 6.6% in the year 2022. About 45 million millennials are in the prime for first-time home buying, and the demand for housing is expected to stay strong. Rochester realtor from Norchar, Brandon Weeks, says it really depends where you are when it comes to a housing recession.
It's all over the place about a housing recession. In Rochester, New York, or Monroe County area, I don't see it quite as much. I read a lot of news across the United States, and people got to remember that from California to New York, from coast to coast, it's not the same market. And you're also going to have niche markets between Buffalo, Rochester, and Syracuse. I don't believe Rochester market is hitting a recession, but that's my opinion.
Weeks says he notices more people in their 30s and 40s become the more common consumer in the housing market and believes those in their 20s are more so renting instead. He encourages those consumers to get out of the rental cycle in order to build equity by buying a home. Reporting in the studio, Jatira Marsh, News 8.
All right, Jatira, thank you. Weeks says if you're looking to buy a house, it's important to work with a local lender as well.
Let's check in now with James Gilbert to see if the rain is going to end anytime soon.
Yeah, eventually. It's got to stop sometime.
Never.
Not
but I
now.
think a lot of this morning is rain showers. Allie, I know you have a dog. You walking the dog in the rain?
You know, my husband texted me a little, worried, James, that there was going to be rain all morning. So it might be a daycare day.
There you go.
Yeah.
You're right, yeah. Just give him
Puppy
a play
daycare.
center. Let him run around there because the morning walk is going to be a wet one. You can see that here on radar. Rain showers across most of Rochester and Monroe County. And you go down to Geneseo, Livingston County, some of those areas, just kind of a light drizzle there. But overall, yeah, we're going to be battling some rain showers. Looks like Geneva getting a good downpour there as well. We're tracking these rain showers, I'd say, over the next 3 to 4 hours. Then we get some dry time around lunch. Then more storms roll in late in the day. We'll take a longer look at the 8-day forecast at the end of the show. Allie, Emil.
All right, James, so we have one accident in East Rochester on I-490 eastbound between Route 31F, that's exit 25, between exit 26, otherwise 395-90 looking on time this morning. In the digital age, many parents are struggling with when a child is ready for a cell phone and how much time they should spend on screens.
The American Academy of Pediatrics and AT&T are launching tools to help families decide if kids are ready for a phone and help create safe, responsible media and technology use. The questionnaire asks, does your child keep track of their things, and whether you trust their judgment when you aren't there, to gauge if the family is in the ready zone or not yet. Parents can also build a customized media plan for the whole family. Media use among tweens and teens has skyrocketed since the pandemic. Teens spend over 8.5 hours a day on screens, according to Common Sense Media.
Here's what some people might be talking about at the water cooler this morning. Well, the Bills put on a bit of a show in front of the fans at Highmark Stadium this weekend for their second preseason games, beating the Broncos 42-15. Josh Allen got the team started off playing in their first offensive drive and tossing a touchdown to Gabe Davis. And that brought his day to a close, though it didn't matter much who was under center, as the running game scored 4 touchdowns and ran for 208 yards. Third-year back Zach Moss continued his impressive preseason, finding the end zone twice on Saturday. Love to see the Bills win, even if it's preseason, James.
Love to see great weather for the game as well. Low to mid 80s, sunny skies. That stadium is usually known for heavy snow and cold.
Yeah. Been there, done that.
Right, yeah. It's certainly nice to see that. Today, rain showers across the region for today, and a lot of wow, people are cheering for my forecast. You hear that?
Yeah.
It's us.
By Wednesday, we clear out mostly sunny skies. Numbers right back into the middle 80s.
All right, James, thank you so much for watching News 8 at Sunrise.
Our next update is coming up in 30 minutes. CBS Mornings is next.
Follow News 8 wherever you are on RochesterFirst.com, Facebook, Twitter, and on our app for news and weather.